Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 22 career mode, and today we're here for the 17th round of our Moto2 season at the Japanese Grand Prix. Now if you haven't seen the last episode, I do recommend you go check that one out before you do see this one. But in the last episode we had a really good battle with Augusto Fernandez at Aragon. Unfortunately we did come off second best, so we only finished second in the last race, but still pretty good considering I thought I was going to struggle a lot that weekend. But because we managed to beat Chantra and Roberts, we have given ourselves a very good chance of winning the championship here at Motegi. I believe if we finish in the top 4, it's guaranteed regardless of what they do. So that's got to be the target. Of course, I do want to win the race. That's really what I'm aiming for. But you know what? I'd probably rather take second place than crash trying to win the race, for example. Whereas in other races, I've gone for it and risked the crash. And in Austria, for example, we paid the price. So, you know, I think I might be a little bit more cautious. But if the win is on the table, I really do still want to try and go for it. But without any further ado, we may as well head into the weekend. Usually a very good weekend for the player compared to the AI, so provided it's dry, we've got a very good chance of the championship, but you never know, it could rain and it could really throw a spanner into my plans. So we'll head into the weekend now, and I'll see you after practice. So then, at the end of free practice, you can see we're actually top of the timesheets, 3/10 clear of Sumkiat Chantra in second position, so you can tell he's really taking it to us this weekend. He's really going to try and take this championship to the next round. Now, to be honest, he actually wasn't there when I ended the session. It was actually Vietti behind me, so his simulated time obviously was better than what he'd managed on track, so that's definitely worth noting as we go into qualifying. But honestly, not quite as easy as I expected. I thought I'd come in here, do one lap and just blitz them by like over half a second, but actually, it took me quite a few laps to build up, and I was losing so much time actually on the straights to them, so I had to use Power Mode 3 just to balance that out. If I'd used Power Mode 2, I wouldn't have been top, because they literally were gaining so much on all the straights and out of all the corners as well, so the power deficit seems quite big here, which is interesting, because I'm pretty sure we have most of the engine upgrades on, if not all of them, but I'm pretty sure we have most of them at the very least, and we did seem very, very low on the amount of power, so that's definitely worth noting as we go into the race as well. But without any further ado, we'll head into qualifying now. Of course, we should be straight through into qualifying 2, but let's see if we can get pole position. So then, here we are in qualifying 2, and coming through Q1, we've got Sam Lowes, Jorge Navarro, Joe Roberts, who again is another rider to watch out for since he is another one of my championship rivals, and Fermin Aldeguer. Now you can see Chantra's actually moved out a few positions. That's because the previous times that AI were better than his, like Agora, Canet and Arbolino all had better FP1 times than Chantra, so you can see obviously on the combined times he wasn't the best AI after all. So in terms of tyres, just going to go for the standard medium. You know, I'm not kind of over-stressing here. I'm not trying to find time I don't have. You can see I have a little bit of time in hand over the AI, whereas in Aragon, for example, they were just playing quicker than me and I could do nothing about it. Whereas here, yeah, it took me a few more laps than I expected to get up to speed, but I've still got a bit of an advantage over them. So tyres, not a concern, we'll just go with mediums as usual. And as long as I put a clean lap together, we should be at least in contention for pole position. But it took a few laps because I just kept sort of running wide everywhere. It's very easy to get sucked into the corners of this track, so that's definitely, again, worth paying attention to in the race. Not getting sucked in behind AI, for example, if I have a bit of a bad start, or even if I'm on my own, you know, running wide. I've done that previously. I've done that at a few different races over the career mode, whether it's Moto3 or Moto2, where I've been in a pretty decent lead, completely destroyed myself at a corner by just running way too wide, and then I had to give myself a right comeback. But here we are then, coming through the last corner, about to start our qualifying lap, bit of a wheelie as well, so I'm trying to maximise where I can use Power Mode 3, because I'm losing a lot of time on the straights, like I said before. So here we are then, coming towards the line. It's actually been a pretty tidy lap, I'm not going to lie. 1 minute 49.6, I think that's quicker than we went in free practice, but I'm not actually 100% sure. We've got a second back to Marcel Schrotter in second place, so for now that does seem quite secure, because Canet has just improved to 0.9 off. To be honest, I say that's probably it. I can't see them finding 0.9 in the remaining 10 minutes. They don't tend to find that much in a qualifying session, and even if one of them does, I think it'll still be a very good starting position, this one here, even if it's not pole position. So I'll end off the session now, and I think we've got ourselves another pole position. So interestingly, it seems they haven't improved like whatsoever. You can see Canet still in second place, 0.9 off. It seems to be the exact same order, which I'm a bit surprised about because the simulated times were actually quicker in free practice, so I assumed that they actually would boost. That's why I ended it so early, because I thought there's no point to letting them do the times on track when their simulated times will be even quicker, but fair enough, I guess it hasn't changed. So we're on pole by 0.9 of a second. This is more the margin I expected, whereas in free practice it was a lot closer. I think my lap time was a bit better in this session, but not massively so I'm surprised that they are this far off when they were this close in free practice. Joe Roberts down in 15th place on the grid. That's pretty crucial. He's pretty much ruled himself out of any chance of beating us here unless we have an absolute catastrophe. And Somkiat Chantra down in 6th place. It does all seem pretty good for us because they both have to basically win the race if they have any chance of carrying the championship on. And I only have to finish in the top 4 if they do win the race. So they're not putting themselves in the best place to do that. And Joe Roberts being down there is also not going to help us with the Teams Championship, to be honest, because you can see Agora and Chantra 3rd and 6th, so they're both solidly in the top 10. With Joe Roberts down in 15th, that's really going to harm us because he's only going to be bringing home 1 point with that. Obviously, of course, there is a whole race for him to move forward, but it's not really the best place to be starting from. It doesn't start him on the best foot, so hopefully we'll be able to come through the pack a bit to help us out there. But without any further ado, we may as well head into the race now. I'm hoping that it'll be an exciting one. Hopefully we can have another scrap like we did in the last one, but it does seem a little less likely here because if they were this slow in qualifying, they'll probably be even slower in the race. Although I am struggling with consistency at this track, so potentially I might be able to make a mistake, which could spice up the race a little bit if I make the right one. So I guess we'll have to head down to the grid now to see how good the race is. I'll see you there. So then, here we are down on the grid looking at Iagora in 3rd position. It'll be interesting to see how Iagora actually approaches this race. Will he try and help his teammate out? Will he try to help his team out? Because, of course, he needs to try and win the race for the Teams Championship, to be honest. And probably for his own Riders Championship as well, because I'm not really sure where he is. But there was a point in time where he wasn't that far behind Joe Roberts and Chantra, to be honest. So he might still be able to beat them, technically, in the Championship, because I suppose they're all quite far from me. But the gaps between those guys probably isn't as big as it seems. There might only be like 20 points between the 3 of them or something like that. So I'm sure he'll have his own interests at heart, but you never know. He could be quite aggressive in this one, so we will have to watch out for him. But in terms of the other guys, I don't think they're going to be too much of a worry, provided they don't make any mistakes, because they're pretty far down the order. And even if I do make mistakes, they still got to actually do their part. They still got to try and win the race, both of those two. So I think we have pretty much got the championship wrapped up after that qualifier session, but we have seen some hectic races take place this season, so never say never.
The riders are all lined up on the starting grid. Just a few moments more, and the lights at Twin Ring Motegi will go out to start the race.
So then, on pole position once again, can we wrap up the championship here today? It seems quite likely. The lights are on, waiting for the lights to go here at Motegi. Lights out, and away we go. A pretty quick hold there as we get off the line. Are we going to lead down towards the first corner? It's going to be close, but I think we are just going to hold the lead as we go through turn 1 of the crash behind is Agora. Agora's out, and I think that's also Sam Lowe's being pushed really wide. Actually, it must be Arbolino because Lowe's is still there. Bit of carnage in the background, a few riders down. So that has affected things quite a bit, and that's definitely going to help us out in the Teams Championship. Of course, it does help Chantra out a little bit as well, moving him up to 5th. We've ran a bit wide onto the long lap penalty lane. We've lost the lead to Aaron Canet. We cut back on the inside of Augusto Fernandez, so I apologise for that. I just turned in on Augusto. I didn't see him at all. But we had got a pretty good start, obviously making a little bit of a mistake there. Like I said in qualified, so easy to get sucked in. And trust me, I didn't do that on purpose. That was a genuine mistake. It's just so easy to miss your braking point at some of these corners. Because to be honest, the run down to them always looks the same. The whole way just looks the same. It's hard to use a little reference. I need to use the start of the curb, but I think I might have just braked a little bit too late, to be honest. But, well, I must have done because I ended up in the gravel. But either way, doesn't matter too much. We're already back up to 2nd position, and we're hassling Aaron Canet already. So at least it makes a bit more of an interesting race because I've actually got to make an overtake. But there you can see the advantage of the acceleration and the straight line speed. That's what I was talking about from free practice. They just get the punch out the corner and just carry it all the way down the straight, it seems. And you're going to see it here as well to big effect. In fact, we might actually be under a bit of pressure from Augusto Fernandez. Here you can see he's got the slipstream. I don't know why he's trying to go to my left-hand side. He's not really going to be able to overtake me there, is he? So he's just squandered an opportunity to overtake me, which is good for me because it would put me down into 3rd, of course. But you can see the AI, even though they've got the pace sometimes, not showing the intelligence. I'm seeing quite a few glitchy sponsor boards around the track for some reason as well. Under that bridge, one there as well. There's also some on the run down towards turn 3. You can see Augusto Fernandez has got the drive out of victory corner. He's going to blast past us, but we're going to outbrake him again into turn 1. And now we need to try and hunt down Aaron Canet. An interesting character, Aaron, at least in this career mode, because he had a really good purple patch at one point. I remember the start of the European season. He was definitely the fastest AI, and he looked like he probably would have been the threat. Although he had a very weak start to the season, but then he's never really kicked on after that. Not really been there. He's been there or thereabouts at a few races, but been very strange. And Augusto Fernandez is similar, just except his start to the season was good, but then sort of as we got to Europe, he tapered off. So these AI have been very inconsistent. And I think that's why Chantra is sort of so far behind in the championship, because he's probably not supposed to be the one really that you're fighting with. probably supposed to be one of these guys, but the inconsistency of the AI just creates a weird championship. I must say, I'm quite surprised we've got 6 laps here, because this is a very long track. So I'm surprised we've got 6 laps rather than 5, but this gives me an extra lap to try and pass Canet, I suppose. So I'm using a bit of Power Motor 3 to try and nullify the advantage down the straight. We're in the slipstream of Aaron Canet. Here we go down towards the 90-degree corner. Can we make the pass and take the lead here? Here we go, up into the lead, but I think I have probably overshot that very slightly. I've overshot it quite a lot. Unfortunately, we've still come back on the track in second place. Although now Augusto Fernandez attacks, he clips that curve. That's a dangerous game because I actually saw him do that and fall off in practice. So he needs to be a little bit more careful with that one. But fair enough, he got the move done. So a failed overtaking opportunity puts us back down into third place. It's unlike me to make all these mistakes on the braking. Obviously, I know most of my mistakes do come there in this game, but it's unlike me to make this many in one race. But like I said, of course, it's just so difficult to hit your marks at this track. So easy to get sucked into the corner. Can we try and pass Augusto into this turn here? I think we've just about done it. Doesn't help when the rear steps out as well. Augusto touches us a bit there. That could have made me fall at the front. Fortunately, it didn't. We've clipped the curb, though. And that allows Augusto back through once again. And now I've got Sumki out right behind us as well. So we've got to watch out for Chandra. He's right there, although we can still drop behind him and still be absolutely fine because he needs to win the race. And even if he does, if I finish 4th, that's good enough for me. So makes no difference if he overtakes us. But not really how I want this race to go. Is it going to be take 2, but this time on Augusto rather than Aaron Canet down towards the 90-degree corner. I'm going to brake a bit earlier on this occasion. Just try and level him maybe on the brakes. Side by side we are with Augusto. He sort of tips in on us. Going to squeeze him out a little bit because he was so aggressive with us on the previous lap. But again, I think he's going to just do the same sort of move. Again on that curb, again so risky. We look at it. We were looking at the inside of that chicane. That was super, super close. Jorge Navarro behind us crashes. But I tell you what, these AI are doing a good job. Because, I mean, I'm massively off my qualified pace, over a second. So they just managed to hold me back enough. And here we go, we might want to go at the inside of Augusto this time. I think we might have got that one done. We're going to squeeze him out a bit. We might have that second position now, so we could probably try and focus on Canet if we can get this stopped here. Need to make sure I don't clip the curb as well, because obviously I passed him into this corner last lap, but then it was the mistake here that cost me. Although I was put off a bit by him hitting me at the previous turn, but I think I might have it now. I think we're up to second place, so Aaron Canet is next. So I actually haven't made the inroads on Canet that I'd have liked to, because I've kind of been harassed a little bit on this lap by Augusto. He's been trying to stick his nose up the inside in some faster corners, which certainly put me off. Down towards the 90-degree corner once again. I think I've got the braking just wrong, but to be fair, I actually might have hit that perfectly. We got a little bit hotter than Canet into that corner, but we just managed to get it stopped. So we actually made quite a lot of progress into him there. We put a bit of a gap into Augusto Fernandez as well. So this could be my opportunity to try and put a bit of a gap into him and try and attack Canet. Although, to be honest, I lost it completely out of the last corner when I got a bit of a wheelie on. But I tell you what, penultimate lap of the race, that comes around quick. Need to get a move on, because otherwise I'm not going to win this race. Right, we're in the prime position to try and pass him down towards turn 3 here. Can we do it on the inside on the brakes? We've gone quite deep, to be honest, to try and make that one stick. But I think we've done it on this occasion. So we finally hit the front once again on this penultimate lap of the race. It's took me long enough, because I made the mistake on lap 1 initially, trying to overtake him. So it seems like we did a pretty good job on that lap. We've got about a second over Aaron Canet starting this final lap now. 1 minute 49 on that lap, so we should be home and dry. So here we are then, coming into the last few corners here at Motegi. We are going to win the race. We are going to win the World Championship here. An absolutely dominant season. And this is going to be our last Moto2 race on top of that. What a race we had. So then, actually a very close finish. You can see only 3 tenths clear of Aaron Canet by the end. I completely backed off on the last lap so that I didn't crash or anything like that. Obviously, it wouldn't have actually mattered because we would have still won the championship with Chandra being only in 5th place, which obviously would have promoted into 4th if I'd fallen off. But I really wanted to just get that win at the end, and to be honest, like I was saying, I was struggling for consistency. You saw that in the race. We made so many mistakes, and I assure you, none of them were deliberate. I wasn't trying to just make an interesting race. I genuinely kept running wide, kept getting caught out, things like that. And I managed to get one decent lap in. You can see a 49.7, much better than what the AI could achieve, but I only really did that once. Obviously, I did back off on the last lap, like I said, but I didn't have a massive pace advantage over them in the race, which is surprising because in qualifying I did it was a bit closer to practice in this one, so maybe practice was actually a bit more representative on this occasion, because sometimes qualifying is really the thing you go by, but to be fair, on this occasion it did seem like the AI's pace converted over from practice pretty well. But Somkat Chantra then ended up in 5th place. Obviously, he needed to win the race to prevent me winning the championship, but a valiant effort from himself. Where did Joe Roberts finish, actually? I think he must have fell off in the race. He didn't finish very well at all. In fact, yeah, he did finish, but down in 26th place. Dalla Porta was actually the guy that brought home the secondary points for us. 12th place as well, not too bad. Dalla Porta's contributed virtually no points to the Teams Championship all year, so nice to see he's doing some right at the end. But speaking of the championship, you can see we are now 126 points ahead in the championship with 100 left on the table, so nothing can be done to stop us now in this championship. So it is the battle for second between Chantra, Roberts and Agora. Actually not that big of a gap between the three of them. 36 points covers all three, so with the amount of races that's left, anything could happen. And to tell you what, I forgot how close it was behind. You can see Arbolino's 1 point off Agora, Bartos Trotta's 1 point off Agora, 2 points further back to Aaron Canet, then another 2 points back to Augusto Fernandez, tied with Jake Dixon. So really, 9th to 4th is only separated by 5 points. That's actually incredibly close. So, to be fair, Augusto Fernandez and Canet, I've not really seen them all season. They've kind of had average seasons, but if they have decent races at the end of the season, they could actually still end up in 4th place in the championship, which is quite incredible. I mean, they could even end up 2nd. Really, all of these riders could still end up 2nd in the championship. However unlikely that is, obviously with only 4 races to go, 36 points could be made up by just winning every race, pretty much. So, obviously Chantra can't really finish 2nd in all of them, but if Chantra finished 3rd in them, I think you are cracking on for... That's 36, so yeah, if you're 36 points off, you actually have still got a shot, so it could be very close. If Chantra has a couple of bad races and one of these guys goes on a bit of a winning streak, you could actually see these championship standings changing quite a bit, but I tell you what, I actually completely forgot how close it was. It just shows, really, that the AI have just been so inconsistent. So looking at the Teams Championship now, you can see we've got a 156 point lead ahead of Honda Team Asia, so not too bad overall. I'm not sure how they're going to take a chunk into that, but I think it'd be difficult for them to gain 156 points in 4 races. So I think we have got the Teams Championship fairly sewn up. Obviously, it's not a guarantee, but it's quite unlikely that Joe Roberts and Lorenzo Dalla Porta are going to both fail to score in every race and the others are going to win too. So hopefully we can do the championship double here, but I guess we'll have to see how the championship unfolds without me. With that race done then, we'll head back to the career hub now, see what we get. Obviously, we won't get any of the World Championship stuff until the end of the season, until it's actually done, so it'll be probably the next episode when I cover all of that stuff. But this will be it in terms of Moto2. I'm not going to do any more races. Obviously, no point doing the last 4 since we've already won the Riders' Championship, and you can see we've pretty much got the Teams Championship sewn up as well, so hopefully we should be able to bring home the Championship double. So really, in the next episode, we'll be just sorting out MotoGP and starting our career mode there. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that one. But we'll head back to the career hub now, like I said, and we'll end off the episode. So then, from that weekend, we gained 10,200 reputation, which takes us up to 184,200. As for the credits, we gained 13,890, which takes us up to 443,637. But back here in the career hub then, as you can see, we've got no notifications, so that does bring this episode to a close. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. Another quite interesting race, to be honest. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a bit of a ball fest. I thought I was going to pull away and win quite easily, but fortunately, I was proved wrong. We managed to win the championship in quite a good fashion, so I am quite happy with that, I must say. But from next episode, we will be moving up to the MotoGP class. I have decided which team I'm going to ride with, but you will find that one out in the next episode. I'm just going to keep it a little secret. But it'd be interesting to see what you guys think in the comments, who I should go with. I mean, I've already decided, like I said, but who you think I might go with. And maybe I will see a comment that'll make me change my mind. But I have pretty much already got my heart set on which team I'm going for in the next season. But I hope you guys did enjoy that one. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Hope you'll stay safe, and I shall see you in the next one.